Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the human ship Wanderer. The stars looked different here at the edge of human space. They were brighter and closer together. Jake had been exploring for 3 months now, looking for new worlds where humans could live. "Captain, I'm getting something on the sensors," said Lieutenant Amy Brooks from her station. She was the ship's navigation officer and the best at reading star maps Jake had ever seen. Jake walked over to Amy's station. "What do you see?" "5 large ships coming our way." "They're big, Captain. Much bigger than anything we have." Amy's voice was worried. "They'll be here in 10 minutes. Jake nodded. The Wanderer was a good ship, but it was built for exploring, not fighting. It had basic weapons and shields, but nothing like what a real warship would have. Send them a message. Tell them we're peaceful explorers from Earth. Amy worked at her controls. Message sent, Captain. No answer yet. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Jake looked out at the stars and wondered what was coming. Humans had been traveling among the stars for only 50 years. They had found a few empty worlds to settle on, but they had never met another intelligent species. "Captain," Amy said, "they're answering." The main screen lit up with the face of something that definitely wasn't human. It had gray skin, large black eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was cold and harsh. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire. You will stop your ship and prepare to be boarded. Your species is unknown to us. You will submit to Empire authority immediately." Jake stepped forward. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the human exploration vessel. Wanderer. We're peaceful explorers from Earth. We mean no harm to you or your empire." Kethvar's black eyes narrowed. "Peaceful or not, you will obey Empire law. All species in this galaxy must follow our rules. You will hand over your ship's weapons and accept our technology limits. Your ship design is ... unusual. It must be inspected." "Technology limits?" Jake asked. "What do you mean?" "The Empire has ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years, Kethvar said. We maintain peace by making sure no species becomes too powerful. Your ship moves in ways that seem impossible. How do you make such tight turns? How do you accelerate so quickly?" Jake was confused. The Wanderer was just a normal human ship. It used fusion engines and artificial gravity like all human vessels. We use standard human technology. There's nothing special about it. "Impossible," Kethvar snapped. "No ship can maneuver like yours without breaking the laws of physics. You will surrender now, or we will take your ship by force." Jake looked at Amy. She was checking her instruments with a worried look on her face. "Captain," she whispered, "their ships are surrounding us. Energy readings are off the charts. They have weapons that could destroy us easily." "Admiral Kethvar," Jake said, "we're not looking for trouble. We just want to explore and maybe find new homes for our people. Can't we work something out?" "There is nothing to work out," Kethvar replied. "You will submit to Empire authority or be destroyed. You have 1 minute to decide." Jake's mind raced. The Wanderer wasn't a warship, but it was fast and agile. Human. Ships were built different from what these aliens seemed to expect. Maybe that could help them. "Amy, can we outrun them?" "Maybe, Captain. Their ships are powerful, but they look heavy. We might be able to get away if we're clever about it." Jake made his decision. "I'm sorry, Admiral, but humans don't surrender. To anyone. We'll find another way to work this out." Kethvar's face twisted with anger. "Then you will die. All ships open fire. Amy, evasive maneuvers." Jake shouted. The Wanderer suddenly dove downward, spinning as it moved. The alien ships fired, but their energy beams passed through empty space where the human ship had been. A second before. How did they do that? Jake heard one of the alien voices say over the open communication channel. Amy's fingers flew over her controls. The Wanderer twisted and turned between the alien ships like a fish swimming through rocks. The big alien vessels tried to follow, but they were too slow and clumsy. Their ship is impossible. Another alien voice cried, "It's moving too fast. It's changing direction too quickly." Jake grabbed his chair as the ship rolled sideways, dodging another energy beam. "Amy, can you get us out of here?" "Working on it, Captain." Amy was sweating as she pushed the ship to its limits. "I need 30 seconds to charge the jump drive." The Wanderer spun around one of the alien ships, using it as a shield while Amy worked. The aliens kept firing, but they seemed confused by the human ship's movements. 20 seconds. Amy called out another energy beam, passed close to the bridge. Jake could feel the heat through the ship's hull. These aliens had powerful weapons, but they couldn't hit what they couldn't predict. 10 seconds. The Wanderer suddenly shot straight up, away from the alien ships. Jake heard Admiral Kethfer's voice screaming orders at his fleet. "Fire everything. Don't let them escape." "Jump drive ready," Amy shouted. "Do it." The stars stretched into lines of light as the Wanderer jumped away from the alien fleet. When the light faded, they were alone in empty space. Jake sat down heavily in his captain's chair. "Amy, are you all right?" "Yes, Captain. That was too close." Amy was still working at her station. "I'm setting course for Earth. Command needs to know about this." Jake nodded. "Indeed they do. It looks like humans aren't alone in the galaxy after all." Back in the Zephyrian fleet, Admiral Kethfor stared at the empty space where the human ship had been. His officers were talking excitedly about what they had seen. "Admiral," his tactical officer said, "how did their ship move like that? It broke every rule we know about space combat." Kethfer's hands were shaking. In 3,000 years, no ship had ever escaped from a Zephyrian fleet. "I don't know. But we must report this to the Empire immediately. These humans, they have ships that shouldn't exist." The Admiral sent his report to the Empire's capital. World. Within hours, the message would reach the highest levels of Zephyrian command. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for millennia by making sure no species could challenge their power dot, but now there was a new species in the galaxy. A species with impossible ships and the will to fight back. The Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that humans were unlike any species they had ever encountered. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center deep under the surface of Earth. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship movements, and intelligence reports. 3 days had passed since Captain Morrison's encounter with the alien. "Fleet, show me the report again," Lisa said to her aide. The main screen displayed Jake Morrison's face. He looked tired but determined. "Admiral, they called themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They've been ruling the galaxy for 3,000 years. They want to control our technology and make us follow their rules." Lisa frowned. "And they said our ships were impossible?" "Yes, ma'am." They seemed shocked by how the Wanderer moved. Their ships were bigger and more powerful, but they were slow and clumsy. They couldn't keep up with our maneuvers. Lisa turned to Dr. Pete Williams, the man who designed most of humanity's spaceships. Pete was a thin man with wild gray hair and thick glasses. He always looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Pete, what do you think? Why would they say our ships are impossible?" Pete scratched his head. "Well, Admiral, it sounds like they've been using the same ship designs for thousands of years. They probably think there's only one way to build a spaceship. But humans ... were different. Different how? We change things. We improve things. We take old ideas and make them better." Pete walked over to a model of a human ship on his desk. "Look at this. Human ships aren't just built. They're designed to be rebuilt." Every part can be changed or upgraded. Lisa was getting interested. Go on. Most alien species probably build their ships once and never change them. But humans are always tinkering, always improving. Our ships today are completely different from ships we built 10 years ago. Dr. Williams picked up a piece of the model. See this engine section? It can be removed and replaced in just a few hours. Same with the weapons, the shields, the life support systems. Everything is modular. What does that mean for us? Lisa asked. It means we can adapt. If we need faster ships, we can build faster. Engines. If we need better weapons, we can install them quickly. The aliens probably take months or years to upgrade their ships. We can do it in days. Lisa smiled. That's our advantage. But Pete, they said our ships moved in impossible ways. What did they mean? Pete's eyes lit up. Oh, that's the best part. Admiral, what do you know about human gravity generators? They create artificial gravity inside our ships so we don't float around. Right, but that's not all they do. Our gravity. Generators can create gravity fields outside the ship too. We can push and pull against space itself. That's how we make such tight turns and quick accelerations. Lisa was beginning to understand. The aliens don't have this technology? I don't think so. They probably use simple rocket engines and basic physics, but humans learn to bend gravity to our will. To them, it would look like magic. The Admiral walked to the window that looked out over the shipyard. Dozens of human vessels were being built or repaired. Pete, how long would it take to convert our exploration ships into warships? With our modular designs? Maybe a week for each ship. We just swap out the science equipment for weapons and armor. Do it. Convert every ship we have. And Pete? Yes, Admiral? I want you to design something new. Something that will really surprise these aliens. Pete grinned. I have some ideas. What about a ship that can phase in and out of normal space? Or one that can split into multiple parts during battle? Can you actually build things like that? Admiral, give me a month, and I'll build you ships that will make the aliens think humans are gods. Lisa nodded. You have your month. But first, we need to test our current ships against alien technology. She turned to Commander Ben Hayes, who had been listening quietly. Ben was young, but he was the best pilot in the human fleet. Ben, I'm putting you in command of the Defiant. It's our newest prototype warship. Ben straightened up. What are my orders, Admiral? Take the Defiant to the edge of our space. Find some alien ships and see what they can really do. But Ben, don't start a war. Just show them what human ships can do. Understood, Admiral. Lisa looked at her team. People were about to face an empire that has ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. They have bigger ships, more weapons, and they outnumber us by millions to one. But they have one weakness. What's that, Admiral? Ben asked. They think they know everything about space combat. They think there's only one way to fight. But humans have never followed anyone else's rules. We make our own. Dr. Williams was already sketching new ship designs on his tablet. Admiral, what? If we built ships that look like asteroids? Or ships that can turn invisible? Or ships that can teleport? Can we actually do those things? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. Lisa smiled. That's what I like to hear. And when do you leave? The Defiant is ready now, Admiral. I can leave within the hour. Good. Remember, we're not trying to win a war yet. We're trying to learn about our enemy. And we're trying to show them that humans are not going to be easy to conquer. Ben saluted. Yes, ma'am. The aliens won't know what hit them. As Ben left to board his ship, Lisa looked at the star maps on the wall. Somewhere out there, an alien empire was preparing to crush humanity. They probably thought it would be easy. They probably thought humans were just another primitive species to be conquered. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The Defiant was different from the Wanderer. It was built for fighting, not exploring. It had new weapons, better shields, and engines that could make it move like a dancer in space. But most importantly, it had something the aliens had never seen before. Dr. Williams had installed his new stealth system. The ship could bend light around itself and become invisible. It could also mask its heat signature and energy readings. To alien sensors, the Defiant would look like empty space dot as Commander Hayes took his ship toward the edge of human space. He thought about what Admiral Carter had said. Humans didn't follow other people's rules. They made their own, the Zephyrian. Empire was about to discover that humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Not because they were stronger or smarter than everyone else, but because they refused to accept limits in the alien capital world. Admiral Kethfer was giving his report to the Empire's high command. The leaders of the Zephyrian Empire sat in a great hall made of black stone. They had ruled the galaxy for so long that they had forgotten what it was like to be challenged. "You say their ship moved in impossible ways?" asked the Supreme Commander. "Yes, sir. It changed direction instantly. It accelerated beyond what should be possible. And it escaped from 5 of our best ships." The Supreme Commander was not impressed. "You let one small ship escape? Perhaps you are getting old, Kethfer." "Sir, with respect, this was not a normal ship. The humans have technology we don't understand. Impossible. We have studied every species in the galaxy. There is nothing new to learn about ship design." Kethfer wanted to argue, but he knew better. The Empire's leaders did not like to be contradicted. "What are your orders, sir?" "Take a full battle fleet to human space. Destroy their ships and conquer their worlds. Show them what happens when a species refuses to obey the Empire." "Yes, sir. How many ships should I take?" 100 should be enough. No species has ever required more than that." As Kethfer left the Great Hall, he felt uneasy. The Empire's leaders had not seen what he had seen. They had not watched a human ship dance between energy beams like. It was playing a game, but orders were orders. Kethfer would take his fleet and crush the humans. He just hoped it would be as easy as the Supreme Commander believed. The war between humanity and the Zephyrian Empire was about to begin, and neither side knew what they were really getting into. Captain Ryan Clark sat in the pilot's seat of the Ghost, watching the enemy fleet approach Kepler Station. The space station was humanity's newest colony, built around a small planet at the edge of human space. 20,000 people lived there, and now 100 alien warships are coming to destroy them. "Captain, the alien fleet will be in weapons range in 10 minutes, said Lieutenant Kate Miller from her position at the tactical station. Kate was young, but she was the best weapons. Officer Ryan had ever worked with. Ryan nodded. The Ghost was humanity's first stealth destroyer, built using Dr. Williams' new invisible technology. The ship was completely hidden from alien sensors. To them, it looked like empty space. "Are the other ships in position?" Ryan asked. "Yes, sir. The Phantom and the Shadow are on the other side of the fleet. The Whisper is above them. All ships are cloaked and ready." Ryan looked at the enemy fleet on his screen. The alien ships were massive, each one 10 times bigger than the Ghost. They had thick armor and powerful weapons. But they were slow and clumsy, just like the ships that had attacked the Wanderer. "Kate, what do you think? Can we take them?" Kate studied her instruments. "Captain, they have us outnumbered 25 to 1. But they can't see us, and they don't know we're here. If we hit them fast and hard, we might be able to scatter them." Ryan smiled. "That's what I like to hear. All ships, this is Ghost Leader. Wait for my signal." On the bridge of the alien flagship, Fleet Admiral Zethmer watched the human space station grow larger on his screen. He was the Empire's most experienced commander, and he had conquered dozens of worlds. This would be easy. "Admiral, we're picking up some strange readings," his tactical officer reported. "There seems to be some kind of interference in the area." Zethmer waved his hand dismissively. "Probably just solar radiation. Focus on the station. I want it destroyed in the first attack." "Yes, sir. All ships are ready to fire." "Good. Begin the attack." The alien fleet opened fire on Kepler Station. Hundreds of energy beams lanced through space toward the human colony. But the station's shields held. The humans had been expecting this attack. "Their shields are stronger than we thought," the tactical officer said. "It will take several minutes to break through." "Then we continue firing," Zethmer replied. "Keep." Suddenly, explosions erupted across the alien fleet. 3 of the massive warships were hit by weapons that seemed to come from nowhere. The ship's shields flickered and died. "Report," Zethmer shouted. "What's happening?" "Sir, we're under attack." "But I can't see who's shooting at us." On the Ghost, Ryan watched as his ship's weapons tore through the alien vessel's armor. The stealth system was working perfectly. The aliens had no idea where the attacks were coming from. "Kate, target their engines." "Let's see how well they fight when they can't move." "Target locked, Captain. Firing." The Ghost's weapons cut through the alien ship's engine section. The massive vessel began to spin out of control, crashing into another ship in the fleet. "Ghost. Leader to all ships," Ryan said into his communicator. "Attack pattern Alpha. Hit them hard and fast." The 4 human ships struck like ghosts in the night. They appeared from nowhere, fired their weapons, and disappeared again. The alien fleet was in chaos. "Sir, we've lost 6 ships." The tactical officer reported to Zethmer. "And I still can't see the attackers." Zethmer stared at his screen in disbelief. His ships were being destroyed by an enemy he couldn't see. "Impossible. No ship can be completely invisible." "Admiral, 2 more ships are down. They're hitting us from all sides." On the Ghost, Kate was tracking the enemy fleet's movements. "Captain, they're trying to form a defensive circle, but they're too slow. We can hit them before they get organized." "Do it. Target their command ship." Ryan piloted the Ghost through the alien fleet like a knife through butter. The ship twisted and turned between the enemy vessels, avoiding their desperate fire. The aliens were shooting at shadows. "Weapons locked on the flagship," Kate reported. "Fire. Everything we have." The Ghost's weapons hit the alien flagship from 3 different angles. A massive ship's shields collapsed, and explosions rippled across its hull. On the alien flagship, Zethmer was thrown from his chair as his ship shook from the impact. Alarms were screaming, and sparks flew from damaged control panels. "Sir, we've lost main power. Weapons are down. Shield generators are offline." Zethmer struggled to his feet. "How is this possible? We're being attacked by ghosts." "Admiral, 15 more ships are reporting heavy damage. The enemy is everywhere and nowhere at the same time." Zethmer looked at his screen and saw something that made his blood freeze. For just a moment, one of the attacking ships had become visible. It was small, maybe 1/10 the size of his own vessels. But it moved like a living thing, dancing between his ship's weapons as if it was playing a game. "Humans shouldn't have ships like that," he whispered. "Sir?" his tactical officer asked. "Nothing. Signal the fleet. We're retreating." "Admiral, we outnumber them 25 to 1. Surely we can look at the tactical display." Zethmer shouted. "We've lost 20 ships, and we haven't even damaged one of theirs. We're retreating before they destroy us all." On the Ghost, Ryan watched the alien fleet begin to pull back. "Kate, they're running. Should we pursue?" Kate checked her instruments. "Captain, We're low on ammunition, and the other ships are reporting similar problems. We've done enough damage for one day. Ryan nodded. All ships, let them go. We've made our point. As the alien fleet limped away from Kepler Station, Ryan opened a channel to the colony. Kepler Station, this is Captain Clark of the Ghost. The enemy fleet has been driven off. You're safe for now. The voice that answered was full of relief. Thank you, Captain. We thought we were done for. How did you do it? Ryan smiled. We showed them that humans don't fight fair. We fight smart. Later, as the Ghost docked at Kepler Station, Ryan met with the station commander. The man was still shaking from the battle. Captain, I've never seen anything like that. Your ships appeared and disappeared like magic. The aliens didn't know what hit them. That's the idea, Ryan replied. Admiral Carter wanted us to show the aliens that humans are not easy prey. I think we succeeded. What happens now? Now they go back to their empire and tell their leaders that humans have impossible ships. They'll be scared, confused, and angry. That's exactly what we want. Meanwhile, on the alien flagship, Zethmer was composing his report to the Empire's High Command. His hands were shaking as he wrote. The human ships moved in ways that defied all known laws of physics. They could become invisible, can strike from any direction. They outmaneuvered our best vessels, as if they were standing still. Our weapons could not touch them, but their weapons cut through our armor like paper. Zethmer paused and looked at the damage reports. 20 ships destroyed, 30 more heavily damaged. And the humans had only used 4 small vessels. He continued writing. The humans fought with tactics we have never seen before. They used stealth, speed, and cunning instead of brute force. Our traditional battle formations were useless against them. I recommend that we approach the human problem with extreme caution. As Zethmer sent his report to the Empire's capital, he thought about what he had witnessed. The Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds using the same tactics for 3,000 years. But the humans had changed everything in a single battle. The phrase echoed in his mind. Humans shouldn't have ships like that, but they did. And that changed everything. Back on Earth, Admiral Carter read the battle reports with satisfaction. The plan was working. The aliens were learning that humans were not like other species. They were unpredictable, innovative, and very dangerous. Dr. Williams, she said to the ship designer, how are the new prototypes coming along? Pete looked up from his work with a wild grin. Admiral, you won't believe what we've built. Ships that can phase through solid matter. Ships that can split into multiple parts during battle. Ships that can manipulate gravity itself as a weapon. Lisa Carter smiled. Perfect, because something tells me the aliens are going to come back. With everything they have, let them come, Pete said. We'll show them what human ingenuity can really do. The first battle was over, but the war was just beginning. And the Zephyrian Empire was about to learn that humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Supreme Admiral Vextar stood in the war room of the Empire's greatest military base. He was old, even by Zephyrian standards, with scars from 100 battles across his gray skin. For 20 years, he had been retired, tending to his gardens, on his home world. But the news from the human front had brought him back to service. Show me the battle recordings again, he said to his staff. The holographic display showed the disaster at Kepler Station. Zethmer's mighty fleet, reduced to burning wreckage by invisible human ships. Vextar watched as the human vessels appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking from impossible angles. How many ships did the humans use? He asked. 4, sir. 4 small vessels against our 100-ship fleet. Vextar was quiet for a long moment. And our losses? 20 ships destroyed, 30 heavily damaged. We inflicted no damage on the enemy. The old admiral closed his eyes. In 3,000 years of Empire history, such a defeat had never happened. The humans had done something that should have been impossible. Have our scientists learned anything from the wreckage? His chief scientist, a thin Zephyrian named Dr. Colvin, stepped forward. Sir, we've studied the weapon impacts on our ships. The humans use some kind of energy beam that can cut through our strongest armor. But that's not the strangest part. Go on. Sir, the humans seem to know exactly where to hit us. They targeted our engines, our power systems, our weapons. It was as if they had complete blueprints of our ships. Vextar frowned. Impossible. Our ship designs are closely guarded secrets, yes, sir. But the humans struck with surgical precision. They knew our weaknesses better than we do. Meanwhile, deep in human space, Captain Sam Foster was preparing for his most dangerous mission yet. The Viper was humanity's newest stealth ship, designed for deep strikes into enemy territory. Sam's job was to learn everything he could about the Empire's military capabilities. Captain, we're approaching the target system, reported his navigation officer. Long-range sensors show 3 Empire shipyards and a major fleet base. Sam nodded. Take us in slow and quiet. I want to see what they're building. The Viper slipped through the Empire's defenses like a shadow. The ship's stealth system was even more advanced than the Ghost's. It could hide from any sensor the Empire possessed. Captain, I'm seeing something interesting, said Lieutenant Grace Thompson, the ship's intelligence officer. Grace was small and quiet, but she had a genius-level intellect that made her perfect for spy work. What is it, Grace? Sir, they're tearing apart their own ships. Look at this. She pointed to her screen, which showed hundreds of Empire vessels being dismantled by work crews. Sam studied the display. Why would they destroy their own fleet? They're not destroying it, sir. They're trying to rebuild it. I'm detecting major modifications to their engines, weapons, and armor systems. They're trying to copy our technology. Yes, sir. But from what I can see, they're not having much success. Their ships are too rigid, too set in their design. They can't adapt like ours can. Sam smiled. That's their weakness. Dr. Williams designed our ships to be changed and upgraded. But the aliens have been using the same designs for thousands of years. They don't know how to innovate. The Viper moved deeper into the system, recording everything. Sam watched as the Empire's engineers struggled to understand human technology. They were trying to copy human weapons, but they didn't understand the principles behind them. Captain, I'm picking up a communication signal, Grace said. It's from the fleet base. They're talking about something called Project Impossible. Can you decode it? Already working on it, sir. It's a research program trying to figure out how human ships work. They're calling our technology impossible because it doesn't follow their understanding of physics. Sam laughed. They think we're breaking the laws of physics? Wait until they see what Dr. Williams has been building. Back on the Empire's capital world, Vextar was meeting with the Empire's highest leaders. The Council of Supremes sat in their ancient throne room, a place where the fate of the galaxy had been decided for millennia. Vextar, said the Prime Supreme, an incredibly old Zephyrian whose age was measured in centuries. You have read the reports? What is your assessment? Supremes, the humans represent a threat unlike any we have faced. They do not fight according to established rules. They use tactics and technology that our forces are not prepared for. Surely you exaggerate, said another Supreme. They are one young species. We are an empire of 1,000 worlds. With respect, Supreme, that is exactly the problem. We have been successful for so long that we have forgotten how to adapt. The humans are new to space warfare, so they approach it with fresh ideas. The Prime Supreme leaned forward. What do you recommend? We need to learn from them. We need to study their tactics and develop countermeasures. Most importantly, We need to understand that this will not be a quick or easy victory. Unacceptable, snapped a younger Supreme. The Empire does not learn from inferior species. We conquer them. Vextar kept his voice calm. Supreme, with respect, the humans have already proven they are not inferior. They have technology we don't understand and tactics we can't counter. If we underestimate them, we will lose. Impossible. No single species can challenge the Empire. The humans are not like other species. They innovate constantly. They adapt to any situation, and they refuse to accept defeat. The council was quiet for a moment. Finally, the Prime Supreme spoke. Vextar, you will take command of all military operations against the humans. You have unlimited resources and authority. But you must succeed. The Empire cannot afford to lose this war. I understand, Supreme, but I will need time to prepare. The humans will not wait for us to get ready. As if to prove his point, alarms began sounding throughout the capital. A young officer ran into the throne room, his face pale with fear. Supremes, forgive the interruption, but we have an emergency. The human ship we've been tracking, it's here. It's in our home system. The council erupted in shocked voices. Impossible. Our defenses are impenetrable. Show us, Vextar commanded. Main display showed the Empire's home system. For a moment, it looked normal. Then, like a ghost materializing from thin air, a human ship appeared near the capital world's orbital defense platforms. It's been here the whole time, the officer whispered. We never saw it. Captain Foster's voice came over the communication system, calm and confident. Attention, Empire leadership. This is Captain Sam Foster of the human vessel Viper. We've been watching your shipyards, your fleet bases, and your research facilities. We know everything about your military capabilities. The Supreme Council sat frozen in their thrones. An enemy ship had penetrated to the heart of their empire without being detected. We're not here to attack, Foster continued. We're here to deliver a message. The human race will not submit to your empire. We will fight for our freedom using methods you cannot understand or counter. This is your only warning. The human ship vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving the Empire's leaders staring at empty space. How? The Prime Supreme whispered. How did they get past our defenses? Vextar stood up slowly. Supremes, this is what I was trying to tell you. The humans fight with technology and tactics that we cannot predict or counter. They can appear anywhere, strike without warning, and disappear before we can respond. What do? We prepare for a war unlike any we have ever fought. The humans have shown us that they can reach us anywhere, anytime. We are no longer safe in our own territory. Back on the Viper, Sam Foster was pleased with the mission's success. They had gathered crucial intelligence about the Empire's military capabilities and delivered a clear message about human determination. Captain, Grace said, I'm analyzing the data we collected. The Empire is trying to modernize their fleet, but they're failing. They don't understand how to build modular ships like ours. What about their research into our technology? They're calling it impossible physics because they can't figure out how our gravity manipulation works. They think we're using some kind of magic. Sam smiled. In a way, we are. Dr. Williams' designs are so advanced that they might as well be magic to the aliens. Sir, there's something else. I intercepted communications between their military leaders. They're scared. Really? Scared. Some of them are talking about negotiating with us instead of fighting. And the others? The others want to throw everything they have at us. They're talking about using their entire fleet, millions of ships, to crush humanity once and for all. Sam's expression grew serious. Then we need to get this information back to Admiral Carter. The Empire is going to make their final move soon. As the Viper began its journey back to human space, Grace continued studying the intercepted data. Captain, they keep using one phrase in their communications. Every time they talk about our ships, they say, humans shouldn't have ships like that. They're right, Sam replied. We shouldn't have ships like ours, according to their understanding of technology. But that's exactly why we're going to win. We don't follow their rules. On the Empire's capital world, Vextar was already planning his response to the human threat. He had called together the Empire's best military minds, but he knew it might not be enough. Generals, he said to the assembled officers, we face an enemy that can appear anywhere without warning. They can see you. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Liberator, humanity's newest and most advanced warship. 6 months had passed since he had escaped from Admiral Kethfor's fleet in the Wanderer. Now he was leading the entire human fleet into the final battle of the war. Admiral, long-range sensors are picking up the Empire fleet, reported Captain Amy Brooks, who now served as his second-in-command. It's bigger than anything we've ever seen. Jake looked at the tactical display and felt his breath catch. The Empire had brought 10,000 ships to this battle. Every vessel they possessed, from their massive dreadnoughts to their smallest patrol craft. It was the largest fleet in galactic history. How many ships do we have, Amy? 200. Sir, our entire battle fleet. Jake smiled grimly. 50 to 1 odds. The Empire really wants to make sure they win this time. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Empire flagship. Put it on screen. The ancient face of Emperor Kol Tharan appeared on the main display. Jake had never seen the Empire's supreme ruler before. The alien looked impossibly old, with eyes that had seen millennia of conquest. I am Emperor Kol Tharan of the Zephyrian Empire, the alien said in a voice like grinding stone. You will surrender immediately and submit to Empire authority. This is your final chance to avoid total destruction. Jake stepped forward. I'm Admiral Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Fleet. We've been through this before, Emperor. Humans don't surrender. Then you will all die. I have brought every ship in the Empire to this battle. You are outnumbered 50 to 1. Your impossible ships cannot save you from such overwhelming force. We'll see about that, Emperor. Humans have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. The Emperor's expression didn't change. Your sayings will not help you now. All ships, attack formation. Destroy the human fleet. The transmission ended, and Jake turned to his crew. Amy, signal all ships. It's time to show the Empire what Dr. Williams has been building. Yes, sir. All ships report ready. Jake took a deep breath. Then let's begin. Activate the new systems. Around the human fleet, space itself began to change. Ships that had been visible suddenly vanished, becoming invisible to all sensors. Other ships seemed to split apart, turning from one vessel into 5 smaller ones. Still others began to glow with an eerie light as they charged their new weapons. On the Empire flagship, Emperor Kol Tharan watched in growing horror as the human fleet transformed before his eyes. What is happening? Where did their ships go? Sir? They're still there, but our sensors can't track them, his tactical officer reported. And some of their ships appear to be multiplying. Impossible. Ships cannot multiply. Sir, the humans have ships that phase in and out of normal space. Ships that can split into multiple parts. Ships that can manipulate gravity itself as a weapon. The Emperor felt something he had not experienced in 1,000 years. Fear. How is this possible? I don't know, sir, but the human fleet is approaching. They're moving in ways that defy physics. Admiral Jake Morrison smiled as he watched the Empire fleet's confusion on his tactical display. Dr. Williams had outdone himself. The new human ships used technology that seemed like magic to the aliens. Amy, begin the attack. Pattern Omega. Yes, sir. All ships, execute Pattern Omega. The human fleet struck like lightning from a clear sky. Ships appeared from nowhere, fired devastating weapons, and vanished again. The Empire's massive vessels found themselves under attack from enemies they couldn't see or predict. Focus fire on the human flagship. Emperor Koltharan commanded. Destroy their leader. But the Liberator was no longer where it had been a moment before. The ship had used its new phasing technology to slip through normal space like a ghost. When it reappeared, it was behind the Empire's battle line. Target the Emperor's ship, Jake ordered. Let's end this war. The Liberator's weapons were unlike anything that had ever been built. They used focused gravity fields to tear apart enemy ships at the molecular level. When they struck the Empire flagship, the massive vessel simply came apart like it was made. Of Sand. Emperor Koltharan had just enough time to whisper, "Humans shouldn't have ships like that," before his ship was destroyed. With their emperor dead, the Empire fleet began to panic. Ships fled in all directions, but there was nowhere to run. The human vessels were everywhere and nowhere, striking from impossible angles. "Sir, the Empire fleet is breaking apart," Amy reported. "They're trying to retreat, but our ships are too fast." "Let them go, Amy. We've made our point." Jake opened a communication channel to the entire Empire fleet. "Attention, Empire forces. Your Emperor is dead. Your fleet is defeated, but we're not here to conquer you. We're here to free you." On one of the surviving Empire ships, Admiral. Vexstar listened to the human transmission with amazement. He had expected to die in this battle, but the humans were offering mercy. "We know that many of you have been forced to serve the Empire," Jake continued. "We know that your leaders have kept you from advancing, from growing, from becoming what you could be. That ends today. The Zephyrian Empire is finished. But that doesn't mean your civilizations have to be. We're offering you a choice. Join. Use in building a new galactic community based on freedom and innovation. Or go your own way in peace. The choice is yours." Admiral Vexstar was the first to respond. "Human Admiral, this is Vexstar of the former Empire fleet. We accept your offer. We have seen what your ships can do. We have seen what innovation and freedom can accomplish. We want to learn." One by one, the surviving Empire ships signaled their surrender. Not surrender to a conqueror, but surrender to a new way of thinking. Dr. Pete Williams, watching from his laboratory ship, was amazed by his own creations. The new human vessels had performed beyond his wildest dreams. Ships that could phase through matter. Ships that could split and recombine. Ships that could manipulate the very fabric of space itself. "Admiral Carter," he said into his communicator, "the new ships worked perfectly. The aliens couldn't even understand what they were seeing." Admiral Lisa Carter's voice came back full of satisfaction. "Excellent work. Pete, what's the status?" "Of the fleet? Minimal damage, Admiral. The Empire couldn't touch us. Their weapons were designed to fight conventional ships, not ships that can exist in multiple dimensions at once. And the aliens? They're calling our technology impossible. Just like always. But some of them want to learn. I think we might be able to teach them." Back on the Liberator, Jake was receiving reports from across the battlefield. The Empire's fleet was scattered, their command structure destroyed, and their will to fight broken. "Amy, what's our casualty report?" "Incredibly light, sir. We lost 3 ships, and they were evacuated before destruction. Total human casualties, 0. Jake shook his head in amazement. 0 casualties in the biggest space battle in galactic history. Dr. Williams really has created miracle ships. "Sir, we're receiving messages from Empire worlds across the galaxy. They're asking about the new galactic community you mentioned." They want to know if the offer is real. It's real, Amy. Send out the message. Any species that wants to join us is welcome. But they have to agree to our principles. Freedom to innovate, freedom to grow, and freedom to choose their own destiny. As news of the Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy, something unprecedented happened. Species that had been oppressed for millennia began to throw off their chains. The rigid order that had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years crumbled in a matter of days. On Earth, the news was received with celebration. Humanity had not only survived their first contact with aliens, they had liberated an entire galaxy. Dr. Williams was already working on new ship designs. "Admiral Carter," he said, "now that we don't have to worry about the Empire, I can really let my imagination run wild. What about ships that can travel through time? Or ships that can create their own pocket universes?" Lisa Carter laughed. "Pete, I think you've scared the aliens enough for one war. Maybe we should focus on building instead of destroying." "Good point. I have some ideas for ships that can terraform planets in days instead of centuries. And ships that can carry entire cities through space." Now that sounds more like it. A year later, the galaxy was a very different place. The new Galactic Federation included hundreds of species, all working together to explore and build. The old restrictions on technology were gone, replaced by a spirit of innovation and cooperation. Admiral Jake Morrison, now serving as the Federation's first president, often thought about how it all began. A simple exploration mission that led to humanity changing the course of galactic history. "You know what the funniest part is?" he said to Amy Brooks one day as they watched construction of the Federation's new capital station. "What's that, sir?" "The aliens kept saying humans shouldn't have ships like that. They were right. We shouldn't have had ships like that, according to their understanding of technology. But we did anyway, because humans don't let anyone else tell us what's possible." Amy smiled. "And now they're building ships like ours." Every species in the Federation is innovating again, creating new technologies, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. That's the real victory, Amy. Not that we won the war, but that we showed the galaxy there's always a better way. There's always room to grow, to improve, to become something more. Across the gal. Captain Jake Miller felt the ship shake around him as another blast hit the hull. The lights flickered on and off in the command center. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. The sound of metal breaking filled the air. "Shields are down to 20%, shouted Lieutenant Amy Brooks from her station. Her fingers moved fast across the controls, but nothing seemed to work. The enemy ships were too strong. Jake looked at the main screen. Dozens of alien ships surrounded their colony. The Zephyrian Collective had come without warning. Their black ships moved like deadly birds in space. Each one was 3 times bigger than anything humans had built in the last 100 years. "How many people are still on the planet?" Jake asked. 3 million, sir," replied Amy. Her voice was shaking. "The evacuation ships can't get through. The aliens are shooting everything that moves." Jake closed his eyes for a moment. 3 million people, families, children, all counting on him to protect them. But his ship was just a colony. Guard vessel. It had some weapons, but nothing that could fight this many enemies. Another explosion rocked the ship. This time, the lights went out completely. Emergency power came on a few seconds later, but Jake knew they were running out of time. "Sir, we're getting reports from the surface," said Communications Officer Tony Rivera. "The alien ground forces have landed in the main city. They're not taking prisoners." Jake felt his heart sink. The Zephyrian Collective was known for one thing. They destroyed everything human. No peace talks, no mercy, just death. "What about the fleet?" Jake asked. "Are any other ships coming to help?" Amy shook her head. The nearest human fleet is 6 days away. We sent the distress call, but they won't get here in time. Jake looked around the command center. His crew was still fighting, but he could see the fear in their eyes. They all knew this was hopeless. Their ship, the New Horizon, was good for protecting the colony from pirates or small threats. But not this. Not a full invasion. "Captain," said Amy suddenly, "I'm picking up something strange. There's an old frequency in our communication system. It's marked as military emergency only." "What kind of military emergency?" Jake asked. Amy read from her screen. "It says extinction protocol. The frequency hasn't been used in over 200 years. It's connected to something called the Old Guard." Jake had heard stories about the Old Guard. Long ago, before his grandfather was born, humans had been different. They had fought wars that covered whole star systems. They had built weapons that could destroy planets. But that was ancient history. Humans had chosen peace instead of war. "Sir, another wave of enemy ships is coming," reported Navigator Lisa Park. 47 new contacts. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Jake made his decision. "Amy, open that old frequency. Send a message on the extinction protocol." "Sir, I don't know if anyone is listening. The system is so old." "Do it," Jake said firmly. "If we're going to die, we might as well try everything." Amy's hands moved across her controls. The old system was hard to use. It had been built in a time when humans used different technology. Finally, she got it working. "Channel open, sir. The signal is broadcasting on all emergency frequencies." Jake took a deep breath. He didn't know who might be listening, but he had to try. "This is Captain Jake Miller of the colony ship New Horizon. We are at Haven Prime Colony. 3 million civilians are under attack by the Zephyrian Collective. We need immediate help. Our defenses are failing. Code, Extinction Protocol." Amy sent the message into space. It traveled faster than light, reaching listening posts across the galaxy. Most of them were empty. Most had been shut down long ago. In the Sol system, in a place where few humans ever went, something heard the call. Deep in the asteroid belt, a listening post that had been sleeping for 2 centuries suddenly came alive. Lights turned on. Computers started working. An artificial intelligence that had been waiting for this exact moment began to wake up. The AI was called Protocol 7. It had one job. If humanity was ever in danger of being wiped out, it would wake up the Old Guard. Back at Haven Prime, Jake watched the alien ships get closer. "Amy, did anyone respond to our message?" "No, sir. No response yet." Jake nodded. He hadn't really expected an answer. The Old Guard was just a story. But at least he had tried. "All ships, this is Captain Miller," he said into his communication system. "We're going to fight as long as we can. Protect the evacuation ships. Don't let them get to the civilians." His small fleet of 5 ships moved to attack the alien force. It was like throwing rocks at a mountain. But they were human. They would fight until the end. On the planet below, families ran for shelter. Children cried. Parents held them tight. The alien ships flew overhead, shooting at anything that moved. But far away, in the cold darkness of space, ancient machines were starting to move. The message had been received. The Old Guard was waking up. The Zephyrian Collective had made a terrible mistake. They thought they knew what humans were capable of. They had studied human colonies and fleets. They had seen the peaceful traders and diplomats. They had never seen humans at war. Protocol 7 sent signals to sleeping ships across the galaxy. In hidden bases and forgotten stations, lights began to turn on. Engines that had been cold for centuries started to warm up. And in the deepest parts of human space, the most dangerous ship ever built began to wake up. The U.E.'s Titan's wrath was coming. Commander Lisa Stone opened her eyes slowly. The first thing she noticed was the cold. The second thing was the pain in her chest as she breathed. The third thing was that she was lying in a cryopod that should have kept her asleep for only 6 months. The pod's display showed a date that made her heart stop. 200 years. She had been asleep for 200 years. "Emergency wake-up sequence complete," said a voice she recognized. It was Cerberus, the ship's eye. "All senior staff report to the command center immediately." Lisa pulled herself out of the pod. Her legs were weak, but she forced herself to walk. The corridors of the U.E. Titan's wrath were exactly as she remembered. Them, dark metal walls, red warning lights, everything built for war. She reached the command center and found her crew already there. Chief Engineer Ryan Clark was checking his equipment. Tactical Officer Kevin Hayes was reading reports on his screen. Navigation Specialist Rachel Adams was plotting courses through space. They all looked confused and scared. Lisa knew exactly how they felt. "Cerberus, report," Lisa said as she sat in the captain's chair. "Commander Stone, we have been awakened by Protocol 7. A human colony is under attack by a force that threatens human extinction. The Zephyrian Collective has invaded Haven Prime with overwhelming numbers." Lisa felt her blood turn cold. The Zephyrian Collective was supposed to be a peaceful trading empire. At least, that's what they had been 200 years ago. "Show me the current situation," she ordered. The main screen filled with data. Lisa read it carefully, and her face grew dark. The Zephyrian Collective had become something terrible. They had conquered dozens of star systems. They killed entire populations and took their planets. "How many human colonies have they attacked?" she asked. 47 confirmed attacks in the last 5 years, Cerberus replied. Haven Prime is the largest target so far. 3 million civilians. Kevin Hayes looked up from his station. "Commander, what's our current status? Are we ready to fight?" Lisa turned to Ryan Clark. "Chief, how's the ship?" Ryan's fingers danced across his controls. "Amazing, Commander. The ship is in perfect condition. All weapon systems are online. The quantum engines are running at full power. It's like we just launched yesterday." "What about the crew?" Lisa asked. "All 2,847 crew members are awake and at their stations," reported Rachel Adams. "The automated systems have been maintaining the ship and training programs while we slept." Lisa stood up and walked to the tactical display. The Titan's Wrath was the most powerful ship ever built by humans. It had been created during the First Galactic War, but the war had ended before the ship could be used. So they had hidden it in the asteroid belt, just in case. "Cerberus, what's the current state of human military forces?" Lisa asked. "Human military capability has decreased significantly over the past 2 centuries, the AI replied. "Current human. Ships are designed for exploration and trade, not warfare. They have minimal weapons and weak defenses." Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. They let the military die? Humans chose peace over strength, Cerberus explained. They believed that diplomacy and trade would keep them safe. Kevin Hayes laughed bitterly. "How's that working out for them?" "Not well," Lisa said. "Cerberus, are there any other Old Guard ships available?" "Yes, Commander. Protocol 7 has activated 17 other vessels. The stealth destroyer Shadow Strike is already moving toward Haven Prime. The assault carrier Iron Fortress is launching from the Jupiter system." Lisa smiled for the first time since waking up. "Good. What about automated defenses?" 63 defense platforms have been activated across human space. They are moving to protect major population centers. Lisa walked back to her chair. "Time to Haven Prime at maximum speed?" 18 hours, Commander, replied Rachel Adams. "Then we go to war," Lisa said. All hands, this is Commander Stone. We have been awakened because humanity is in danger. We are the old guard. We are the ones who remember how to fight. The Zephyrian Collective thinks they can destroy human colonies without consequence. They are wrong. She paused and looked around the command center. Her crew was ready. They had been trained for this exact moment. Kevin, I want all weapon systems at full power. Ryan, push the engines as hard as they'll go. Rachel, plot the fastest course to Haven Prime. And Cerberus, I want you to start analyzing Zephyrian tactics and technology. Already in progress. Commander, the AI replied, I have been monitoring galactic communications for the past 2 centuries. The Zephyrian Collective has been studying human behavior and military doctrine. They believe they understand our limitations. Lisa laughed. They've been studying the wrong humans. They've been watching traitors and diplomats. They've never seen us fight. As the Titan's wrath moved through space, Lisa studied the reports about the Zephyrian Collective. They were efficient killers. They used superior numbers and technology to overwhelm their enemies. They had never lost a battle, but they had never fought the old guard. Commander, said Kevin Hayes, I'm reading the weapon specifications for current human ships. These things couldn't fight off a pirate attack. That's because they were never meant to fight, Lisa replied. Humans thought they could live in peace forever. They forgot that peace only exists when you're strong enough to enforce it. The ship's communication system activated. Commander Stone, this is Captain Ben Torres of the Shadow Strike. Good to see you're awake, Lisa smiled. Ben had been her friend during the First Galactic War. Good to hear your voice, Ben. What's your status? My ship is ready for battle. We should reach Haven Prime 12 hours before you do. I'll scout the enemy positions. Be careful, Ben. We don't know what new weapons they have. Don't worry about me, Lisa. I'm more concerned about the aliens. They have no idea what's coming. As the Titan's wrath raced through space, Lisa thought about Captain Jake Miller and his crew. They were fighting alone against impossible odds. But they had bought time. Time for the old guard to wake up. The Zephyrian Collective was about to learn why humans had once been the most feared warriors in the galaxy. And why they had hidden their most powerful weapons, waiting for the day when peace was no longer possible. The Titan's wrath was not alone in the darkness of space. As Commander Lisa Stone watched the tactical display, she saw other ships moving toward Haven Prime. Old ships, dangerous ships, ships that had been sleeping for 2 centuries. Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Colonel Maria Santos, reported Communications Officer Paul Griffin. She's aboard the Iron Fortress. Lisa smiled. Maria had been one of the best ground commanders during the First Galactic War. Put her through. The screen filled with the image of a woman with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes. Lisa Stone, you haven't changed a bit. Still ready to fight the whole galaxy by yourself? Maria Santos, still leading from the front? Lisa replied. What's your status? My ship is fully operational. We've got 5,000 Marines in cryo-storage, all from the old days, plus enough weapons and vehicles to level a continent. We'll be at Haven Prime in 20 hours. Lisa nodded. Good. We're going to need ground forces. The aliens have landed. Troops in the main city. I've been monitoring their communications, Maria said. These Zephyrians are efficient, but they're not creative. They use the same tactics everywhere they go. Overwhelming force, no mercy, quick victory. That might work against current human forces, Lisa said, but they've never fought us. Speaking of which, Maria continued, I've been reading the reports about modern human military doctrine. Lisa, what happened to us? How did we get so weak? Lisa felt the same anger she had been fighting since she woke up. We got comfortable. We thought peace was permanent. We forgot that freedom has to be defended. The communication channel expanded to include Captain Ben Torres from the Shadow Strike. Ladies, I'm already at Haven Prime. The situation is worse than we thought. Ben's ship was invisible to most sensors. It had been designed to scout enemy positions without being detected. The colony defense fleet is down to 2 ships. Captain Miller is still fighting, but he can't hold out much longer. Lisa stood up from her chair. How many Zephyrian ships are there? 73 combat vessels, plus support ships. They've got the planet surrounded. Ground forces are advancing on all major cities. Lisa walked to the tactical display. She had fought Vincent. Worse odds before, but that was with a full fleet. Now she had only a few ships from the old guard. Cerberus, what's our analysis of Zephyrian technology? She asked. Their weapons are powerful, but standard, the AI replied. They rely on energy shields and plasma cannons. Their ships are built for conquest, not for fighting an equal enemy. Are they equal to us? Asked Kevin Hayes. No, Cerberus said simply. Our technology is superior in every way. However, they outnumber us significantly. Lisa smiled. Numbers don't always win battles. Ben, I want you to stay hidden and watch their movements. Maria, when you arrive, I want you to prepare for a ground assault. We're going to hit them hard and fast. What about the other old guard ships? Asked Paul Griffin. Lisa checked her display. The battlecruiser Stormbreaker is coming from the outer systems. The missile destroyer Rain of Fire is 2 days out. But we can't wait for them. Those people on Haven Prime need help now. As the Titan's wrath moved through space, Lisa thought about the enemy they were facing. The Zephyrian Collective had been studying humans for years. They thought they knew how humans fought. They had watched human peacekeepers and diplomats. They had seen human traders and explorers, but they had never seen human warriors. Commander, said Rachel Adams, we're receiving a message from the automated defense platforms. They're asking for orders. Lisa had forgotten about the defense platforms. They were automated weapon systems that had been hidden throughout human space. Each one was as powerful as a small warship. How many are operational? She asked. 63 platforms are online and ready for combat, reported Cerberus. They can be at Haven Prime in 6 hours. Lisa felt hope rising in her chest. Send them immediately. Program them to attack any Zephyrian ship that gets close to the planet. Already done, Commander. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Lisa looked around at her crew. They were all veterans of the First Galactic War. They had fought against impossible odds and won. They had been humanity's shield when the galaxy was a dangerous place. I know what you're all thinking, Lisa said. We've been asleep for 2 centuries. The galaxy has changed. Maybe we're not needed anymore. She paused and looked at each of them. But some things never change. Evil still exists. There are still those who would destroy innocent people for power. And there are still those who will stand against them. Kevin Hayes spoke up. Commander, what if we're too late? What if the colony falls before we get there? Lisa's voice was hard as steel. Then we make sure the Zephyrian Collective pays for every human life they've taken. We show them that attacking humanity has consequences. The communication system activated again. This time it was Captain Jake Miller from Haven Prime. His voice was tired and full of static. This is Captain Miller. If anyone is receiving this transmission, Haven Prime is falling. We've lost contact with the surface. The enemy has broken through our defenses. We're going to try to evacuate as many people as possible, but we need help. Lisa felt her heart break. 3 million people were counting on her to save them. She turned to Rachel Adams. How much faster can we go? We're already at maximum speed, Commander. If we push the engines any harder, we risk damaging them. Do it, Lisa ordered. Ryan, give me everything the engines can handle. If we burn them out, we'll fix them later. Chief Engineer Ryan Clark's hands moved across his controls. Engines at 110% power. We'll be at Haven Prime in 16 hours. Lisa sat back in her chair and closed her eyes. 16 hours. She hoped it would be enough. In the Zephyrian fleet, War Commander Zix Thrall watched the human colony burn. His species had conquered 47 human worlds. Each time, it was the same. The humans would fight bravely, but uselessly, then surrender or die. Sir, reported his tactical officer, we're detecting some unusual energy signatures approaching the system. Zix Thrall looked at the display. What kind of energy signatures? Unknown, sir. They're not matching any known human technology. Zix Thrall dismissed the report. Probably just merchant ships fleeing the battle. Continue the assault. He had no idea that humanity's ultimate weapons were coming to wake him up to a new kind of war. Captain Jake Miller looked at the tactical display with despair. Only one ship remained from his small fleet. The New Horizon was badly damaged, but she was still fighting. Around him, his crew worked desperately to keep the weapons firing. Sir, we're down to 15% power, reported Amy Brooks. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. The alien ships are closing in. Jake nodded grimly. They had fought for 18 hours straight. His people were exhausted, but they hadn't given up. On the planet below, evacuation ships were still trying to rescue civilians. How many people are still on the surface? He asked. About 2 million, sir, replied Tony Rivera. The evacuation ships can't get through the alien blockade. Jake felt his heart sink. 2 million people, families with children, old people who couldn't run fast enough, all waiting for rescue that might never come. Sir, shouted Amy suddenly, I'm detecting something massive approaching the system. It's bigger than anything I've ever seen. Jake turned to look at her screen. The energy signature was enormous. Whatever was coming was the size of a small moon. Is it another alien ship? He asked. Amy shook her head. No, sir. The energy patterns are human. But I don't understand how that's possible. No human ship is that big. Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear open. A ship appeared out of nowhere, directly above Haven Prime. It was black as night and covered in weapon systems. It was so large that it blocked out the sun. My God, whispered Tony Rivera. What is that thing? Jake stared at the massive ship. On its hull, he could see writing, U.E.S. Titan's Wrath. This is Commander Lisa Stone of the U.E.S. Titan's Wrath, came a voice over the communication system. Captain Miller, you and your crew have fought well. Now let us show you how the Old Guard fights. Jake had heard stories about the Old Guard. Ancient warriors from a time when humans ruled the galaxy through strength. But he had thought they were just legends. The Titan's Wrath turned its weapons toward the Zephyrian fleet. What happened next would be talked about for generations. Beams of pure energy shot out from the massive ship. Each beam was more powerful than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. The first alien ship hit by the weapons simply vanished. It didn't explode. It just ceased to exist. What kind of weapons are those? Asked Amy in amazement. Jake watched. As the Titan's Wrath carved through the enemy fleet like a sword through paper. The alien ships tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't even scratch the human ship's shields. Sir, we're getting another transmission, reported Tony. It's from someone called Captain Ben Torres. A new voice came over the communication system. This is the Shadow Strike. We've been watching you fight for the past 6 hours. You've got courage, Captain Miller. Now watch what happens when you combine courage with superior firepower. Suddenly, dozens of alien ships began exploding. Jake couldn't see what was attacking them. The shadow strike was invisible to his sensors. "How many ships are out there?" Jake asked. "I'm detecting at least 5 human vessels," replied Amy. "But they're not like any ships I've ever seen. They're using technology that's centuries ahead of anything we have." On the planet's surface, the alien ground forces were advancing on the main city. Families ran through the streets, trying to reach the evacuation points. Zephyrian soldiers fired at anything that moved. Then the sky filled with fire. Hundreds of objects fell from space like meteors. But these weren't meteors. They were drop pods containing human Marines. As they hit the ground, armored soldiers emerged and began fighting the aliens. Jake watched in amazement as the human ground forces pushed the aliens back. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons cut through alien armor like it was made of paper. "Sir," said Amy, "I'm getting a transmission from Colonel Maria Santos." "She's the ground commander." A woman's voice filled the command center. "This is Colonel Santos of the Iron Fortress." "Captain Miller, my Marines are securing the evacuation points. Get your people to safety." Jake felt tears in his eyes. After 18 hours of hopeless fighting, help had finally arrived. But where had these ships come from? "Commander Stone," he said into his communication system, "I don't understand. Where did you come from? How did you get here so fast?" "We've been sleeping for 2 centuries, Captain," Lisa replied, "waiting for the day when humanity would need us again. That day is today." Jake watched as the Titan's wrath continued to destroy alien ships. The Zephyrian fleet was in full retreat, but the human ship was faster. It hunted down the alien vessels one by one. "Sir," said Amy, "the alien ground forces are surrendering. Our Marines have secured the main city." Jake couldn't believe it. In less than an hour, the old guard had turned a hopeless battle into a complete victory. The Zephyrian Collective, which had never lost a battle, was running away. "Commander Stone," Jake said, "thank you. You saved 3 million lives today." "We saved more than that, Captain," Lisa replied. "We saved humanity's future. A galaxy is about to remember why they once feared us." As the last alien ship fled the system, Jake looked at his crew. They were all staring at the Titan's wrath. In amazement, "Sir," said Tony Rivera, "what happens now?" Jake smiled for the first time in days. "Now we rebuild. But this time, we remember that peace is only possible when you're strong enough to defend it." On the bridge of the Titan's wrath, Commander Lisa Stone watched the last alien ship disappear into hyperspace. The battle was over, but the war was just beginning. "Cerberus, send a message to all human colonies," she ordered. "Tell them that the old guard is back. Tell them that humanity will never again be caught defenseless." "Message sent, Commander," the AI replied. Lisa looked at her. Crew. They had fought well, but she knew this was only the beginning. The Zephyrian Collective would return with more ships. Other enemies would hear about the battle and want to test human strength. But she was ready. They all were. "All hands," she said into the ship's communication system. "This is Commander Stone. Today we reminded the galaxy that humans are not prey. We are predators, and we protect our own." The Titan's Wrath and her sister ships began patrolling the area around Haven Prime. They would stay until the colony was rebuilt and defended. The old guard had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The news of the battle at Haven Prime spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the Zephyrian Collective's capital world, War Prime Zix Thrall stood before the High Council with his head bowed in shame. "Explain to us how an entire battle fleet was destroyed by 5 human ships," demanded the council leader, her voice filled with cold anger. Zix Thrall had been asking himself the same question for days. "The humans had technology we have never seen before. Ships that were invisible to our sensors. Weapons that could destroy our vessels with a single shot. Shields that our most powerful cannons could not penetrate. But our intelligence reports said humans were weak, another council member said. Our spies have been watching them for decades. They have no military. They prefer trade and diplomacy. We were watching the wrong humans, Zixthril replied. These ships came from somewhere else. They called themselves the Old Guard. They fought like the humans of ancient legend. The council leader's eyes narrowed. Ancient legend? From the First Galactic War 2 centuries ago, before we became a star-traveling species. The stories say that humans once ruled through fear and strength, but we thought those were just stories. They are not stories, said the council leader grimly. Send word to all our fleets. Human space is now forbidden. Any ship that enters human territory will be destroyed. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human government was in chaos. President Amanda Kelly sat in her office, reading reports that seemed impossible to believe. You're telling me we had a secret fleet of warships hidden in our own solar system? She asked Admiral Robert Stone, the head of Earth's small defense force. Yes, Madam President. The ships were built during the First Galactic War, but were never used. They were hidden in case of emergency. Amanda stood up and walked to the window. She could see the moon in the distance, looking peaceful and quiet. And now they're out there fighting battles without my authorization? The ships were activated by an automatic system called Protocol 7. It only activates when humanity faces extinction. Amanda felt angry and confused. How did I not know about this? How did none of us know? The knowledge was classified at the highest levels. Only a few people knew, and they've been dead for over a century. As Amanda tried to understand the situation, similar conversations were happening on every human world. Colony governors were asking the same questions. How had their peaceful civilization hidden such powerful weapons? The answer was simple. Their ancestors had been wiser than they thought. On the Titan's Wrath, Commander Lisa Stone was having a different conversation. Captain Jake Miller had been promoted to Admiral and was now the official representative of the colonial government. The colonies want to know what happens next, Jake said. People are scared. They've lived in peace for generations. Now they're learning that we've been one emergency away from total war. Lisa nodded. I understand their fear, but they need to understand something important. Peace is not the natural state of the galaxy. Peace is what you get when you're strong enough to defend it. But what about diplomacy? What about trying to get along with other species? We will still try diplomacy, Lisa replied. But now we will negotiate from a position of strength. Other species will know that attacking humans has consequences. As they talked, reports came in from across human space. The automated defense platforms were online and protecting major colonies. The Shadow Strike was patrolling trade routes. The Iron Fortress was training new Marines. But most importantly, word was spreading to other species. The Zephyrian Collective was not the only threat in the galaxy. There were pirates, raiders, and other hostile species. All of them were now reconsidering their plans. Admiral Miller, said Lisa, I want you to send a message to all human colonies. Tell them that the old guard is not going away. We're going to build a new fleet using the old technology. We're going to train a new generation of warriors. Jake looked concerned. Are you sure that's wise? What if we become the threat? What if we turn into the thing we're fighting against? Lisa smiled. That's why we need people like you, Jake. People who remember that our job is to protect, not to conquer. The old guard will always serve humanity, not rule it. Over the next few weeks, the galaxy watched as humanity changed. New ships began appearing in human space. They were smaller than the Titan's Wrath, but they were built with the same advanced technology. Human colonies that had been defenseless For centuries, suddenly had powerful protectors. Trade routes became safer. Pirates learned to avoid human ships. Other species began requesting protection from human vessels. But the most important change was in the humans themselves. For generations, they had believed that peace was possible through weakness. Now they understood that peace was only possible through strength. In the Galactic Council, the representative from the peaceful Altarian Republic stood before the assembly. "We have received reports about the human military awakening," she said. "Some of you are concerned about this development. You worry that humans will become aggressive and expansionist." She paused and looked around the room. "But I want to remind you all of something. When the Zephyrian Collective attacked the Altarian colonies last year, we called for help. The Galactic Council debated for weeks while our people died. But when the humans learned about the attack, they sent 3 ships and ended the threat in 1 day. The humans are not interested in conquest," she continued. "They are interested in protection. They protect their own people. Can they protect their friends? I say we should be grateful that such protectors exist." Back on the Titan's Wrath, Commander Lisa Stone stood in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The ship was patrolling the border between human space and the unknown regions. They had become humanity's guardians. "Commander," said Kevin Hayes, joining her at the window, "do you think we did the right thing? Waking up the old guard?" Lisa thought about the question. 3 million people are alive because we woke up. How many more will live because the galaxy knows we're here? But what about the cost? We've changed humanity forever. They can never go back to the way things were. Lisa nodded. That's true, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe it's time for humanity to grow up, to understand that freedom isn't free. As she spoke, reports came in from across the galaxy. The message was always the same. Human space was now the safest place in the galaxy. Pirates avoided it. Hostile species stayed away. And other peaceful species were asking for protection. The old guard had awakened, not just to fight one battle, but to change the balance of power in the galaxy. They had reminded everyone that humans were not just traders and diplomats. They were warriors who protected what they loved. And in the deepest parts of space, in hidden bases and secret shipyards, humanity was building. Not just new ships, but a new future. One where peace was enforced by strength, and where the innocent were protected by those willing to fight.